previously undefeated, is now on the verge of being eliminated by Artosis. Artosis is using his incredibly powerful and highly unusual priest deck. Kripp is forced to bring out the mage deck he's been hiding this entire time. And here we go.
That's right, this is the first time this deck has been revealed in the tournament. We have seen all the decks from everyone else. This is the last one that we have to talk about. And this is a very, very, very quick deck if it can get off the ground.
Yes, yeah, it is designed for an awful lot of nuke and doing an awful lot of damage, but not just with spells, yeah? It's not like Rekful's deck where it's like you gotta kill him with spells. This has got synergy and early protection. He's got mirror image, something that the other mage decks in this tournament didn't have. He has arcane missiles and Mana Worm, which is, again, a great combo. And he also gets to go second. If he pulls a Mana Worm here, that's great for him. He didn't, but you know, he can hold on to the coin for potential play there as well. Sitting on 2 Sorcerer's Apprentice, so he's going to get a lot of cheaper stuff. That Ragnaros isn't coming out anytime soon, I'm afraid, but there you go. And he also has 2 Pyroblasts, which is more than most of the mage decks in this tournament had. Oh, brilliant. That's exactly what he wanted right there.
Man.
Absolutely fantastic.
Okay, so this
Here's
play,
the combo.
Yeah, the coin is going to be a spell as well, which is going to buff that Mana Worm to 2/3. Then he can potentially throw out Mirror Image. No, he's actually going to wait. Oh, this is good, because what he's doing is, if there is a Shadow Word Pain, which there is, he would have just lost a 3/3 rather than a 1/3.
Exactly. Really, really smart there, and not burning off that combo. It's a very tempting thing to do, of course, but yeah, he did the right thing there. He baited out the Shadow Word Pain, and he's totally fine with that. Out comes the 3/2 Ooze, so that's fine for him. And Artosis has got nothing. I mean, he literally cannot do anything, so he's going to just burst a few melons down there, I think, and out comes a Pyroblast, again, not that helpful, but we could see Mirror Image come out here, certainly, for the sake of it. You don't necessarily have to, because there's nothing to really protect against at this stage.
Yeah, well, let's see here. Yeah, I mean, he can just kind of slam in for some damage, to be honest. Just get 4 damage out on the board and not have to overextend anything, and that's exactly what he's going to do.
I wonder if he wants to hold on to that coin for the Azure Drake next turn. That would be pretty good.
Yes, I have to think that that's what's happening.
Whoa! Artosis is getting starved right here. There's so little he can actually do. He's just healing himself back up and just trying to buy time until he actually gets the cards that he needs. All right, let's see if he coins. Another Mana Worm comes out. That is pretty good. We can see the same combination come out here. Let's see, Mana Worm, he's thinking about it. I wonder if he's just also thinking about that Azure Drake as well, because he can get it.
Yes, yeah, he absolutely can. I mean, it is tempting to be able to get the Mana Worm out there, though, when you can coin, just because it's essentially a free +1 damage. He even has a potential here to put the Mana Worm out there, coin, and do a couple of spells and sit it at 4 damage to ensure that it stays alive, and he'll be sitting behind those 2 0/2 taunts with Mirror Image. That's not a terrible play, but it does waste a lot of cards out of his deck all at once.
Yes, and ultimately, that's exactly what happens. It's also vulnerable to Holy Nova, so I like the Azure Drake play more. I really do.
Yes.
So out it comes, he gets a card, and he gets a 4/4 on the field, so that's pretty nice. Artosis has got to start pulling into things, and maybe not that, though.
Yeah, this is not great. I mean, if he only Novas, he only takes out 1 creature. He does heal himself back up for 2, but he's still going to take a big hit from that Azure Drake. And all the while, Kripp just keeps sitting and gathering cards, gathering cards, gathering cards.
I think maybe he has to Holy Nova. He's got to buy himself a little bit of time here. It's either that or he just heals himself and takes the damage because he really doesn't want to use Holy Nova like that. But I think, yeah, Holy Nova is going to happen. So he does that and heals himself back up a little bit, gets that out of the way, and now, of course, goes to Kripp's hand. A Dark Iron Dwarf comes out, very nice. Water Elemental, Mana Worm available there as well for combinations. Admittedly, you would love to be able to actually start using some Frostbolts, but there's no creatures on the board for that to happen. So out comes the Mana Worm. Let's see what the follow-up is. A Water Elemental, nice and safe play. I like the fact that he's holding on to his spells, and he can use them next turn and then attack, because if you otherwise going to make that a target. Alchemy Soul Priest. This is really interesting. We obviously don't see this all that often. So this would actually turn his Hero Power Heal into a 2 damage spell, which is quite cool.
That's not bad, because you could throw that out and he could kill the Azure Drake. I mean, his other possibilities are going for the Holy Fire, but there's no good target to this. If he takes out the Azure Drake, it's only at 2 health. If he takes out the Mana Worm, there's still 7 damage on board, and he can't kill the Water Elemental with it. So he's kind of caught between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah. I think Alchemy Soul Priest into the damage is probably the best call he currently has. He may not want to put it out there because protecting it could be very difficult, but regardless, it may be the best option he's got right now.
All right. Well, he's considering, and he is actually just going to go for the Holy Fire. Yeah, I mean, that's going to gain him 5 health. It takes a big threat off the board, but of course, he didn't want to have to use it right there.
Well, I mean, you could see the resignation in his face, like, yeah, I wanted to use Holy Fire on something better, but ultimately, you don't get the best case scenario all the time. You've got to play to your strengths. Okay, a Sorcerer's Apprentice. Man, that's going to be absolutely fantastic. That can mean a turn 7 Pyroblast if he wants to play that. We'll see if he wants to do that. He wants to protect himself instead. Okay.
Oh, and that was really smart. You see what he just did? He ensured that Drake stood at 4 health, or I'm sorry, 4 attack once again, so it can't be removed.
Exactly. He didn't push it higher than that to make sure that the priests didn't have the ability to do the Shadow Word Death. I mean, it's an advanced play right here from Kripp, and he's in a fantastic spot this game.
And once again, I mean, there's single target removal here in Holy Fire for Artosis, but he doesn't have a lot of follow-up options. I mean, obviously, he's not going to commit anything big to the board right now. Johnny Soul Priest doesn't do as much. The silence is nice, though.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the best option I think he had right there. And then play the Injured Blade Master just for the sake of it. Neutralizes a lot of damage and also potential damage from spells coming in next turn. So that's totally fine. Blizzard comes out, so a little bit of healing possibility. He doesn't have any spell power on the board anymore. Otherwise, that would have actually killed everything that his opponent had. So it's unfortunate he wasn't able to keep his Drake around. But the Sorcerer's Apprentice is a possibility too. There's a lot he can do here. He's got everything he needs.
Yeah, honestly, he could just Blizzard, ping one of those minions away, and then swing in for 8. That's a totally acceptable play, especially because he's getting up in the Pyroblast range now. Sorcerer's Apprentice is going to allow him to play Blizzard and Frostbolt at once if he would so desire.
Yep.
And it looks like that's what's going to happen.
All right, well, he's going to actually use Frostbolt on his opponent. We know that this deck actually does involve some degree of nuke down, but this is powerful. The thing is, the Pyroblast's right there. This is that turn 8 kill that his deck was actually talking about here. Admittedly, Holy Fire may end up ruining that, but there's so many minions on the board. It's just probably going to kill him outright there. Yeah, this is ugly. I don't actually see a way out of this.
No, neither do I. Looks like he uses Power Word Shield, gives him a little health back on that minion, and he draws just another Injured Blade Master. And I'm sorry, but that's not going to cut it.
No, it absolutely is not. The Pyroblast is sitting there, and I think that Artosis knows, considering he just ate a Frostbolt. It's like, oh, right, you're throwing those at me? Okay, you want to kill me on turn 8.
And this
Holy Fire, and that
still doesn't matter.
It's not going to matter. There's too much damage on the board, plus that Pyroblast.
Yep.
He promised turn 8. He delivers turn 8. Kripp is going to take this to the ace match.
That's right. We are all tied up, and our first match to go to that ace match happens in the finals. Congratulations to Kripparrian. We're going to our last game.
We absolutely are, and it will be Warrior versus Mage. This is going to be an entertaining one. There's no question about that. Rushdown versus Rushdown coming in here. 2 different forms of it. Minion-based Rushdown, spell-based Rushdown. And neither of them have really made a deck that is just all or nothing.
Right.
So we may very well actually see a long drawn-out game, even though it sounds like it's going to be short. Yeah, they both want to do a lot of damage to their opponent, but they still have the capability to protect themselves and trade efficiently if they need to.
That's absolutely right. We're going to see that Warrior deck here in just a second. If you guys tuned in to the first semifinal, of course, you did get a chance to see it against Trump. It is a deck that's largely based on charge. It's largely based on weapons. It's largely based on very cool things like doing damage to your own minions to make sure that you can have the maximum possible attack. We even saw a 7-2 on turn 2 last time.
We did, yes. The 7-2 on turn 2 play with the Cruel Taskmaster, which is just a wonderful play. And, of course, we saw the Mighty Grommash Hellscream come out for the 11 damage finisher with charge with the Inner Rage combo. An absolutely phenomenal play. And, I mean, it wiped Trump off the map so incredibly fast.
Yeah.
But that is a combo that relies on certain cards to come into your hand by a certain time, which is not guaranteed.
John?
Yes?
Are you ready?
I'm absolutely ready. Ladies and gentlemen.
BlizzCon, are you ready for the final game of the InnKeepers Invitational? Then let's get started.